Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have another book news video for you. Yes, we've had several pieces of book news break recently, and so I'm going to cover 4 pieces of news in this video. We have 3 really quick stories I'm just going to touch on briefly, and then I have one kind of major story that I'll talk about at the end. So, we have a new Star Wars book to talk about, we have a new Narnia cover art, and we have a new novel announcement from Raconteur Press. And so I'll talk about those a little bit, and then at the end we'll talk about a big debacle that happened in the self-pub community regarding the SPSFC contest. So, we're going to begin with our first news story of the day, which is that there is a new Star Wars The Bad Batch novel coming out in August. This is Sanctuary, a Bad Batch novel written by Lamar Giles. The cover looks like this, which I think is kind of interesting, and it is set during Season 2 of The Bad Batch. So Tech's going to be in there, yay, Tech fans. We'll also have Gregor, and we'll have Omega, and we'll have Hunter, and I believe that Fee is going to show up. I don't believe that Echo's going to be in it, just because Echo, this is part of the season, I believe that Echo was off doing other stuff. So, with all that being said, I'm very excited because I love tie-in materials. I love that Star Wars is doing tie-ins again. I wish they do it for more of their TV shows. So this is, I think, a very good thing for them to do. And I love The Bad Batch, the TV show. It's one of my favorite animated shows, so I think it was great, and I'm looking forward to seeing more stories. I've never read anything by Lamar Giles, but I think it's going to be fun to read. This is going to be August 5th release, and I will review this book the day it comes out. We also have some book news about the Chronicles of Narnia. It had been hinted at by people like Greta Gerwig, who is the director of the upcoming Narnia movie for Netflix, which I personally don't have a lot of excitement for. That being said, it was hinted at by her that there was going to be new book covers. And because of that, I was a little bit hesitant. I was a little bit skeptical that the book covers would be good. And so I wasn't particularly excited about it, but the book covers dropped today, and they look like this. And you know what? I think they look really good. There is one book cover in the bunch, the Last Battle book cover. I don't think looks that great, but the rest of them I think are really, really solid. And I'm very excited for this because what I think this does is this takes the whimsy and the fun and the adventure of the series, and it works for modern young kids, but also works for, it kind of works in the traditional way as well. I saw some people that being kind of stick in the muds being like, oh, only the old covers are good. And I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. So I think this looks really good. I'm really excited to see these when they come out. Hopefully they look good on the cover itself. And I always want to dive into Narnia again. Maybe I'll do a reread eventually. Our third piece of news comes from Raconteur Press, which is a small indie press which has just signed John Van Stry to write a novel for them. And I think that this is interesting news to cover because I actually covered Raconteur Press back last summer when I went to LibertyCon, and they had a panel, and I listened to them, and I actually interviewed the editors. You could check out that interview on the channel. But what we learned is that they have been a short story collection primary producer, and they will be continuing to do a lot of short story collections. They did 24 in 2024. They plan to do 25 in 2025. But they also they're planning to start novels, and they started with a kids book last year, and they're planning to do this novel from John Van Stry. From my understanding, Raconteur Press is particularly hoping to hone in on novels and books for boys and novels and books for men. This is part of an initiative that they feel that, and I also kind of agree with them, that publishing is very much geared towards women. There are plenty of books that come out for men, but when you look at the vast majority of books that are coming out right now, they very much are geared towards women. And when you look at the number of readers there are, generally, the majority of readers now are women. And so they're trying to bring back male readers, bring them into the fold, and encourage them and stuff. And so they're honing in, they're making it their goal and their focus to get more male readers. And you know what? That is a very admirable goal. I appreciate that. I really like where Raconteur Press is going. I hope they continue to grow. I hope they continue to get good book sales, and I hope that they continue to shine real well. Then we have the final book news topic, which is going to take a bit of time to get through because it's kind of lengthy. And this is regarding the self-published science fiction competition, the SPSFC. I'm going to try to just call it the contest, unless I'm reading something from it, because that's a lot to say. But the SPSFC, or the contest, has gotten into some hot water in the last 2 weeks. And that is because last week, at the beginning of the week, they announced a code of conduct on their participants that had not been announced when the contest started. The contest's been around for a few years. They're in their 4th contest so far, and everyone submitted already, and their judging had already begun. And then they announced this code of conduct on their authors, and we all said, that's a little weird. That's a little late to do that code of conduct. And then on February the 4th, it was announced that the contest was removing Devin Erickson from the contest. They were not they were removing his book, but they were removing it because of him. This is the quote from the tweet that the SPSFC put out. They said, "We apologize for the extended delay and radio silence. Devin Erickson has been removed from the SPSFC effective immediately for violation of our code of conduct." This is a very unfortunate situation for the SPSFC because it did not at all go the way they intended. In fact, it was in my opinion, a boneheaded, stupid mistake for them to do this because all they had to do is just not advance his book, not make a big deal about it, and, no one would have been the wiser. Instead, what they wanted to do was to make an example of Devin, and they wanted to, make an example of him, and that was a stupid, stupid mistake. Devin didn't even know he was in the contest. Devin had no communication with the judges about the contest. He didn't even know he was in the contest. His wife, Christine, had entered him into the contest secretly so that she could surprise him if he won. And so it was a shock to him, and he had not done anything to break the code of conduct. In fact, we have yet to hear directly from the SPSFC's Twitter page, we have yet to hear what Devin Erickson did that was a breach of the code of conduct. We don't know. They say it's tweets, but they did not cite tweets. They did not include a follow-up. They have not done anything to let us know what happened. And it was just, it was totally a stupid mistake on their part, in my opinion. I know I'm editorializing in a news segment, but it was a stupid mistake because they gave Devin Erickson a megaphone. Everybody flooded to his defense. When you look through the quote tweets on the tweet from the SPSFC, like 95% of them are supportive of Devin and are calling them out on their foolishness. And very few actually agreed with the decision. And you look at the comment section, that too. But the SPSFC ended up inadvertently jolting his book sales up for Theft of Fire, for his book. And they also ended up jolting the sales of other people who left the contest as a result. Devin was not the only contestant that was affected by this. But he was the one that they targeted. He was the one that they removed without any consultation, without any of that stuff. And so when they removed Devin Erickson from the contest, several other authors came to his defense and said, you know what? If you're going to remove him, you got to remove us as well. And so I will read a tweet from one of the authors who did just that. This is from Gregory Michael, who wrote the novel Chloe's Kingdom. And he said, quote, "Removal of Devin Erickson over politics is upsetting. Theft of Fire was likely the best book in the competition. I don't agree with everything Devin tweets, but free speech is crucial. Please remove Chloe's Kingdom. Heist novels need to stick together." And so him and several other authors, I think about a dozen of them all, removed their books from the competition and announced that they didn't want to be a part of it if they're just going to silence authors, if they're just going to kick them out of the contest and not even tell them really why. They say, it's broke the code of conduct. What did they do? Especially when the code of conduct was made after the competition started. It'd be one thing if the code of conduct had been there from the start. This was imposed after everyone had submitted and they had accepted all the books. It's just a stupid mistake on the SPSFC's part. And not only did Devin's book sales thrive as a result of this, but so did all the other authors. Those other authors who removed, their book sales have jolted upwards. And you'll just see account after account of people who are trying to support these authors particularly. And ironically, being kicked out of the competition is going to be way more successful for Devin and these other people who removed themselves, who withdrew themselves, than winning the competition would. Because removing him elevated him, because people do not like this cancel culture of just removing someone arbitrarily. It'd be one thing if you remove the book because of the merits of the book. If you say the book's not good, therefore it's not going to win the contest, okay, that's how these contests are supposed to work. But you're removing the book because of something the author said. I know that there is an element of the artist behind the art, but when you're doing a contest like this, the art itself needs to speak for itself. And I reviewed Theft of Fire on the channel, and there had parts of it that I loved, like the character work, and I really loved the authorial voice and the really intimate storyline it told. I was not a big fan of the swearing or certain other elements in the book, but I thought it was still an entertaining book. And there is no grounds based off of this book to remove it from such a competition, especially since there was no code of conduct to begin with. That's the big proud thing. There was no code of conduct to begin with. And in my opinion, it shouldn't even have had a code of conduct, but especially it should have not, they didn't even have it to begin with. Also, I'd like to point out that people are complaining that Devin has some mean tweets and he says a lot of very controversial stuff, and I'm not defending any of those his political tweets necessarily. In fact, most of the people who I saw that removed themselves from the competition also do not agree with Devin on his politics, but what they agree on is that the book should be treated for itself, not based off of comments from an author, and they didn't even say why he broke the code of conduct. So all of this to say that this has been a big debacle on the SPSFC's line, and they just should have totally handled this differently, and they have lost a lot of credibility. In fact, I would be surprised if they even have a competition next year, or if they do. If they want to have relevance, they have to do major overhaul, because people just do not trust it. In fact, I was talking to a previous judge from last year on Twitter, and not last year, I think it was a couple years ago, and she told me just how miserable the experience is on judging anyway, outside of this debacle. And so it just shows that this was not the best move for the SPSFC. So if you have seen any of this book drama that happened, what did you think of it? How would you have handled it differently? What do you think of the new Star Wars novel that was announced? Let me know all those thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.